Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you happen to be watching. Welcome to the Sixth Bugle Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Ruiz, and today we have a very special guest, the Superintendent of the National Fire Academy, Eriks Gabliks. Eric, how are you, sir?
Good to be with you, Rudy.
Oh, it certainly is a pleasure to have you. Eriks has been with the National Fire Academy for quite some time, and I think sometime last year I ran into one of the conferences, and I said, "Dude, we have to have you on our podcast here." And he graciously agreed. He said, "I'd love to be on there." So, based on the things that you bring to the academy and your history with firefighters, and whether it be volunteer or paid, your journey actually began in 1982 as a volunteer firefighter in Adelphia, New Jersey, right?
Correct.
And now you lead the National Fire Academy. You also had the unique experience of completing the Executive Fire Officer program alongside your brother Maris. How have those early volunteer experiences and your family's immigrant heritage shaped your leadership philosophy at the National Fire Academy? And what advice would you give the administrative professionals supporting their leaders who are navigating their own career transitions from the field to the C-suite?
Yeah, so that's a great question to get us going, and there's a lot there. So let me kind of slice up my answer and cover a lot of those different elements. So let's just start with my family. So my parents immigrated to the United States from Latvia. So they came here to flee communism. So my mom and dad were not married at the time. They came with their respective families here to America. My dad was sponsored by a farmer in West Virginia. My mom and her family were sponsored by the Lutheran Church that brought them here to the United States. So growing up in a Latvian family, I was English as a second language. So we spoke Latvian at home and English at school and everywhere else. So, I'm very proud of the culture. I could read, speak, and write Latvian. So I very much value that. And it's part of where we came from, right? So we remember where we came from, but also here now in the United States, my parents fully were acclimated in the United States. My dad served as a veteran. He's an Army veteran, was a combat engineer. But one of the things that they instilled in my brother, myself, my sister, and I was that when we came here, people helped us. So, my dad learned a lot from being in the Army. My mom finished high school here. But people helped them, and they said, look, whenever we can help somebody else out, we should do that. So they also told me, look, whatever job you have, be proud of your job, be proud of the work that you're doing, and do a great job so people remember who you are. And that, started when I worked at a grocery store as a porter. If you were cleaning the floors or cleaning the bathrooms, you cleaned them because you were happy to have a job and you did a good job, and people thank you for that and they recognize you for that. So very much that's instilled in who I am, which is helping others, and perfect segue to being in the fire service. So started in Adelphia, New Jersey, as you mentioned, in central New Jersey. Met a police officer, Toby Rowe, who was a Howell Township police officer. My brother and I were hanging out, and he says, what are you guys doing? What else are you looking to be involved in? And we said, well, we're not really sure what we want to do. And he goes, you should join the volunteer fire company. Little did we know he was the volunteer fire chief. So I started first, and then my brother actually came behind me a few years later because the fire company started a junior firefighter program. So both of us served with Adelphia for a number of years in different roles. I was the assistant chief before I left. My brother actually was the chief for a number of years. But being in the Adelphia Fire Company and any volunteer fire company gives you that community connection, that community caretaker role where you're helping out your friends and your neighbors when there's an emergency. Segue, moved out to Oregon when I was married, served with Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, also with the City of Dallas Department of Fire and Rescue. So great organizations, but again, helping those in need, right? So a lot of people say the fire service doesn't really run into people on their best day. They're not calling you because they're having a good day. They're calling you because you need help. So did that for a number of years and enjoyed it. And then worked also with the State Department of Public Safety Standards and Training for a number of years. And I was actually honored to be the director of the department for 10 years, overseeing police, fire, and corrections training for the state, 911 training, and all those different kind of things. So again, a really amazing opportunity for me to serve in a number of organizations. But one of the things that ties into your question is, what about those people that aren't responding on the call, right? And what I've always told people, and this goes back to my upbringing, it doesn't matter if you're the CEO or the person at the entry level. everybody has value and everybody makes the job happen, right? So everybody leaning in gets the job accomplished. So I've always treated everybody the same. So whether you're the custodian or the CEO, everybody is a valued member of the team. You say hello, you ask people how they are, and they want to be here too, right? So they're part of the mission, they're part of our success, and especially in a support role. Always with the folks that I've had a privilege to work with, both here at the Fire Academy and other agencies, the support staff, the professional staff are just as important as the people driving the engines, applying first aid procedures, running the pump panel, because behind the scenes, those people are making sure that the insurance is paid for, that your HR benefits are checked and double checked before you go on the line. They're making sure that the procurement's happening. They're making sure that the documents that are needed for the city council, the board, are prepared and properly done and properly noticed. So everybody's really part of that team success. As far as the training element of your question, what I always tell people is remember, training is one of the three legs of the stool. It's training, education, and experience. So we need all three of those. So you could have somebody that's gone to a lot of training, which is great, but what they're missing out is on that education part, which is pushing you, I think, many times to think differently about the way you're looking at some things. And then the experience comes with doing whatever we're doing. So all three of those are important. I've always been a big proponent of everybody attending whatever opportunities there are for professional development. And a big thing that I will share with your listeners is don't focus just on the fire rescue service. There are so many professional development opportunities out there that we don't often look at. So the League of Cities, the Association of County, the Fire Districts Associations, each offer training, each host conferences, and there is something there that you're going to find of interest. The same is true for the government insurance pool. They offer classes about where their claims are, where their exposures are, how do we limit risk. I have sent people to those classes all the time, not just uniform personnel, but support personnel, because they have a part in this operation as well. So the more they understand about what's happening, the more they can lean in and help the organization. So those are just some examples. And the other part I'll add are what people often forget about, but those are those community partner organizations. You can go to the Chiefs meeting, and I did that for many years, but also be active in the Chamber of Commerce, be active in the Rotary. People that are nervous about public speaking can be part of Toastmasters. So there are a lot of things around us that we often don't look at because we go, oh, that's not public safety related. That's not a fire department class. It doesn't have to be, right? There are a lot of opportunities out there in front of us. And in fact, I would say probably better for us to go to that, because then we're meeting with our community partners before there's an emergency. So you get to meet the school board chair, you get to meet the Chamber of Commerce president, you get to meet the owner of the grocery store, and you get to know them in a different setting, because a lot of people will say, look, the fire department only comes to our meeting when they want something. What I always said, the fire department should be at every one of those meetings because we are also part of the community. So training is all around us. We just have to take a look and see what we can benefit from that class.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you said that because it is very important to be part of that community. I often call them the critter clubs, the elks, the moose, the eagles,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
To be a
Yes.
part of that too, and part of their mission is to help their community as well. So
Yeah.
whenever you have an opportunity to reach out to those folks, be it for grants or some financial assistance, they'll always be ready to help you if they recognize who you are, name and a face, right?
Right.
And be better familiar with you, and they won't have any doubt in trying to support what you're trying to accomplish. No, very
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
like your story about or your philosophy about treat everyone the same. It reminds me of when John F. Kennedy visited Apollo and he ran into one of the um, janitors there, and he said, "So, sir, what do you do here?" And he said, "Sir, I'm here to put a man on the moon." And
Hmm.
that was the mission, regardless if it was picking up trash or
Yes.
doing the engineering component of it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody is treated the same. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and that's really, Rudy, that's the philosophy I have and the National Fire Academy has, which, the center of our target is the student experience. We're reaching over 85,000 students a year, and every one of our staff, whether they're a federal employee, a contractor, an instructor, are here to get to that goal, which is the student experience. Are we providing current and relevant professional training opportunities? And the answer is yes, then we've hit the target.
Yes, absolutely. And I've always felt comfortable there. And every time I went, I always felt like I'd just take a walk through campus and I'd just think to myself, I'm home. And it
Hmm.
always felt that way to me because it was, I loved the resource library there. I could spend hours in there. Of course, you had to take care of the assignments for class, but it's always provided a great experience there.
And no, and I appreciate that. And it's always have great to have you on campus. And of course, you're an alum also, as I am. So we've spent many hours here, weeks here, months here, if we add up all the numbers. But the one thing that we are very proud of is, and we say this, that we are your National Fire Academy and you belong here. So we have classes in a lot of different categories. And one of the things that is kind of misleading is people hear the word fire academy and they think of a burn building with fire trucks and we're going to set fires and practice putting them out. And that could not be further from what we're all about. We don't have a fire truck here on our campus. The local volunteer fire company in Frederick County Fire respond here if there's an incident. But we are filling gaps that are not available at the local and state level. So that's specifically by the Fire Prevention Control Act. But you're coming here because we offer a training class, professional development opportunity that is not available to you locally. What makes us a little bit different is that we're bringing people from across the country here to be in a class together. So you'll have different experiences from somebody from the West Coast versus somebody from the Southeast versus somebody from the Northeast. So bringing all those different experiences and those different types of organizational settings together just makes for a dynamic learning environment.
Absolutely. And I would even say all around the world, right? I
Correct.
remember one of my EFO classes, we had a firefighter or a fire chief from Hong Kong, Suzanne
Yes.
Klatt, very active in the fire service in the IAFC from
Yes.
Germany. I'm trying to get her on the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. We affect and the entire globe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to when you first started. Back in November of 2020 is when you started, right? In a
Mhm.
post-pandemic world. You took the helm of the National Fire Academy, and right in the middle of the unprecedented challenges with COVID-19 shutting down the residential programs, but you modernized the program to be completed in 2 years with both on-campus and online components and increase its academic rigor to include a graduate level thesis defense. For the
Hmm.
administrative assistants who are supporting their chiefs through continuing education and professional development, what should they know about this evolving opportunities at the NFA, and how can they be strategic partners in helping their leaders take advantage of these programs?
Yeah, so let's take the first part of that, which is the redesign of executive fire officer. So executive fire officer was a 4-year program where you came to campus for 2 weeks, then you went home and you did an academic paper, and then you got prepared to come to the following year and then the year after. So the 4-year window was just very long. People were saying it's just too long to go through a program. What they also said is the program should be harder. And by that, they said they wanted the academic rigor at the graduate level. So they wanted it faster, but they wanted it harder. So we brought our staff together. We brought in a lot of subject matter experts, especially not just fire chiefs, but also city managers and mayors that employ fire chiefs. And we asked them, what should this new and improved executive fire officer program be? And I say new and improved because the old EFO program was very successful. But the old EFO program had also been running for a number of years, so it needed a refresh, it needed an update. So really, the new program focuses on 3 pillars, which really ties in easily with the work of the support staff. It is understanding you, the leader, yourself. Number 2, the second pillar is understanding your organization. And number 3 is understanding your community. So if you think about the fire chief, the fire command officers, if you think of the support staff that support the organizations and their leaders, they are actively interacting with all 3 of those: self, organization, and community. So it's a call from somebody at the city council about something. It's the call from this fire station or this captain that needs something. It's a person that comes in and says, I just saw the chief's memo. I don't really understand what we're doing. So those administrative professionals do a great job of kind of keeping the ship moving forward, but also clarifying those gray areas that may or may not be there, but people think that they are there. So that redesign of EFO allowed us to compress a 4-year program into 2. So we do that by being on campus. We do that by being hybrid and back on campus over a 2-year window. We also did successfully get it recognized by the American College of Education at the graduate level. So we're very proud of that. We're the only federally managed program within FEMA and Homeland Security that has that recognition. So we're very proud of the work of our staff and our stakeholders. And then as far as what do the students go through? Because your listeners, the professional staff listening, what am I getting when I come to Emmitsburg? Why are they away for a week? Well, they're having very candid discussions about being leaders in organizations. And none of the discussions, believe it or not, have anything to do with firefighting. It's leading organizations. So we all rely on men and women from different backgrounds to come in, whether it's volunteer, combination, career, to serve a community, but with a common mission, which is to provide excellent fire and life safety services. So that is the inspection that we do. That's the public education program we do. That could be the car seat program that we implement. That could be responding to a medical call, to a hazmat call, to a structure fire, you name it. So we're really an all risk, all hazards approach organization. But because we have people, because we work in different communities, we need to know how to connect with our people. We need to know how our organization connects with our people. And we need to make sure that our community knows what we do by us being active with that. So that new redesign really ties that all in together. The one I think I'll focus on just a little bit is the third year class or class 3. We require that the students and executive fire officer go out and meet with a number of people in their community that are not part of the public safety system. So we suggest that they meet with the Chamber of Commerce president, with the principal or the school superintendent, with a leader of a community nonprofit organization, with a leader of a community business organization. And we do that on purpose so that those leaders can go out and ask them, what are your issues that you're working on in your organizations? And then how can the fire department support you in what you do? And what you find out is that the issues facing the owner of the grocery store or the lumber yard or the bank president or the school superintendent are very similar to the issues that the fire and EMS chief is working on. Budget, people, and the work that they have to do, right? So that collaboration is very important. And that's important also when we look at our administrative staff, which is they are part of that leadership team also. So everything that they're hearing, everything that they're doing is supporting that organization and delivering services. So we're really excited about the changes, but also the feedback we've gotten from the graduates and the students in the current program, very supportive and very appreciative of what we've done.
That's fantastic. And the other thing that I benefited from the academy was a networking that I was able to do from, like I said, from people all over the world. I graduated back in 2013, and I still keep in contact with the folks that I graduated with. So that is really something to say that there's so much benefit for going to the academy for not, and I'm not just talking about EFO, but any of the programs. You get to meet with people that you normally wouldn't, and get a variety of different opinions on things that you're dealing with. And when it comes down to it, we're all dealing with the same issues, right? But we can address them differently. And the more opportunities we have to get different points of view, the better human beings we all become.
Yeah, no, and I agree 100%. And when I visit with our students, here's what I tell them: the National Fire Academy is not the only game in town. There are a number of amazing professional development organizations in fire and rescue services across the country, at a metro area, regional area, at a state area. And we're not trying to compete with any of them. We want to make sure we're current and relevant. We want to make sure that the training that we're providing is meeting the needs of that student. But what does set us apart is the campus. Because of what you just said, we can bring students here to Emmitsburg, Maryland, from across the country and even internationally, and they're together for 1 week and 2 weeks. They're having not only difficult discussions in class, but they're also having difficult discussions on the breaks and at night and at dinner and at lunch. So, what separates us is really the patch on our sleeve and what state or city we're in. But truly, all the people on campus here are here to better themselves. So they're having those discussions here that they may not be able to have at home in some cases, because if we bring a leadership class to state X or city Y, the people in that class are going to be from that local jurisdiction. So they're going to know each other, or they're going to know people that work with in those organizations. So that candor that they may want to have may not be there because they're afraid that somebody may say something after that class to one of their coworkers to say, your chief just said this, or will you believe this? So we really create a safe place for having those difficult discussions.
Mhm.
And the nice thing that I like when I look at our students and interact with them is they're not coming here to get the certificate that says National Fire Academy. What they're coming here for is professional growth. They're here to learn how to be a better leader. They're learning to be a better communicator. They want to be a better budget manager, right? So they're coming here to perfect their profession, and just really exciting to see that. And you're spot on. Once these students leave classes, they stay in touch with each other for many, many years. Not uncommon for a student to be assigned a project from their chief or their manager, their city mayor. They shoot out an email, a Facebook post to their classmates, and within 24 hours might have responses from, half the class with attached policies, attached strategic plans, you name it. So that network is there. And I would say for the professional staff listening, take advantage of that EFO students or your students network, because you may be working on something that was just given to you and you're not sure if anybody's ever done that. So ask the students that have come here to send out a message to their classmates to say, my professional administrator is working on this. Has anybody had this? And, connect them in. And that same courtesy will be extended to them, which is by the end of the day, and probably by the end of the week, they'll have, 15 to 20 responses saying, we just did that. Here's a copy, or I just got assigned to that too. Let me know what you find out. So that network is very important.
Absolutely. And I've certainly done that. There's a lot of research out there that has been uh, uh, impactful throughout the country and the world that you can make a big difference just by knowing somebody who knows somebody kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you've been very vocal in your passion for increasing outreach for underrepresented communities in the fire service and strengthening ties with allied emergency services like EMS, wildland fire, and even law enforcement. As someone who serves on the Drexel University Fire Injury Research and Safety Trends Advisory Committee and was the past president of the North American Fire Training Directors, you clearly understand the power of collaboration. So, what practical steps can fire service administrative professionals take to help their departments build those crucial cross organizational relationships? And how can they position themselves as connectors rather than just gatekeepers? And I think you touched a little bit about that already, but elaborate if you can on that question.
Yeah, no, and thank you. So if we look at what the fire rescue service does, we very often focus on the operational side of it, which is responding to calls for service from 911,
Mhm.
which is important. No disagreement there, because when the public calls us, they expect us to arrive and they expect us to be prepared. They expect us to be efficient and they expect us to be professional. They want us to do what they called us to do. So that could be putting out a fire, that could be providing medical care, resetting a smoke alarm system. I mean, all those different things that are really that operational day-to-day 24/7 365 business. But if we focus on that, we forget about all the other things. And within our organizations are fire inspectors, fire educators, fire investigators, fire plans examiners, hazmat technicians, wildfire mitigation specialists, data technicians, fleet managers, mechanics. So we often focus on operations and forget about all the other parts of the fire department, which are equally important to meet the needs of our community. So what I've really leaned into here, and this is the same for your listeners, there are classes here at the National Fire Academy that you may find of interest, and you're welcome to come here. So you do not have to be a chief. You don't have to have a bugle on your collar. You don't have to be a sworn member of a fire department wearing a uniform. We have in community risk reduction, probably half of our class are not uniform personnel. They've been hired as specialists to come in and help with community risk reduction. The same is true in our public information classes here offered by our partners at National Disaster Emergency Management University on campus. Those folks coming in there are being asked to serve as public information officers, so they provide training to those folks. Most of them are not uniform sworn personnel. So there is something here for everybody. You just have to take a look at the course description, see if you line up with that. If you meet the requirements for the course, and it's not going to say you must be a firefighter, it'll say this is the type of leadership position you have to have. for this class. So there is something here for everybody. I'm also very aware it's expensive for people to come here. And by that, it's not expensive for you to come to the National Fire Academy because we provide the training, we reimburse you for your travel, we provide the lodging. Your expense is getting meals on campus, but the biggest expense to you is getting time to come here. So we know it's hard for people to get away for a week or for 2 weeks. We understand that. But I would say that it's worth it if you can get your agency to send you. If you can't come to the National Fire Academy, that's okay, because we do offer classes online. So more than 40,000 students a year take advantage of our online training opportunities. So we have dozens of classes available there. Well, all you have to do is log in and go through our self-study classes. But our biggest in-person delivery system is our partnership with the state fire training academies across the state. So each of our 50 states have a designated fire academy. It could be a standalone academy, could be state fire marshal's office, could be part of the Department of Public Safety. But we bring out hundreds of classes, 2-day classes across the country every year. Those 2-day classes are reaching over 25,000 students a year. And what I like to say is that the National Fire Academy is every state, and we try to get as close to your home as we can. Now, granted, in some states it's easier than others. In Rhode Island, it's super easy. But in a state like Texas, where you're traveling 10 hours to go east to west or 10 hours north to south, we'll bring a number of classes in there. The state finds the host for it. But those classes are available not only to fire service members, but also to the support staff. So if there's a class on communications, if there's a class on problem solving, community risk reduction, take a look at the opportunity, take a look at the course description, see if you're interested in that, if it fits your need, and sign up and attend. We'd love to have you.
Well, that sounds great. You've been providing us with wealth of information here on this podcast, and on a personal level, I highly recommend attending the National Fire Academy. It's second to none, and everything that we talked about here on this podcast is true, and it's just quite an experience. And I often tell everybody that if you're in the fire service, you have to do this at least once in your career, and you'll probably figure out that it was such a great experience you'd want to go back. So, Eric, thank you very much for your time, brother. I really do appreciate it. So, if they want more information, how can they get that information?
So two things I would suggest. One is just Google National Fire Academy, and that'll bring you to our webpage, and it'll show you all the different classes available. So all you have to do is click on the subject area, and then it'll tell you whether it's online, off campus, on campus. So that's our schedule that we have. The other thing that people don't often realize is that we have every so often seats in classes that we're filling on a first come, first served basis. So if you Google National Fire Academy vacancies, it'll bring up all the classes that have empty seats in them here at Emmitsburg, and we fill those on a first come, first served basis. So if you look on there right now, there's some classes scheduled for February that have seats in it. If your schedule lines up and if your chief allows you to come, we'd love to have you here. So you'll be in a class with your peers. You'll receive some amazing training, but you'll also be networking with people from across the country and perhaps internationally doing what you're doing. So that opportunity is there. And then finally, I'll add the U.S. Fire Administration is here to serve. So U.S. Fire Administration webpage has all kind of resources available on what's happening in America. So that's wildfire. That's our data. Our new NFIRS system, as we know, is going away, and we're replacing it with the new NERIS system, National Emergency Response Information System. So that's available to everybody online. So a lot of information on there, and all you got to do is take a look and click some mouse strokes, and we'll provide you with whatever you like.
Excellent. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Eric, thanks again very much, brother. We really do appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us here on the Sixth Bugle Podcast. We'll see you again next time. Take care.